Welcome to the Jolly Roger. My name's Chef Brian, and today we're going to be making a weeknight chicken and dumplings. So I'm going to get my pan preheated. I kind of already did. We got 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to get this going ahead and start melting. I'm going to add a little bit of oil just to keep that butter from burning. That should do it. And we're going to start with our mirepoix. And if you don't know what a mirepoix is, it is a ratio of 50% onion, 25% carrot, and 25% celery. Now, my ratios are a little off because I have a little bit more chicken than my 1 onion would make, and I don't want to cut up another onion. So, the chicken, by the way, we did get this. This is a rotisserie chicken. If you want to just do chicken breasts, then what you're going to do is bring a pot of boiling water and make that come to a boil. And then you're going to put in your chicken breast, and you're gonna boil it for about 10 to 12 minutes, and then you can go ahead and shred it after that. But you want to make sure your chicken is done but not dry. But since we got our rotisserie chicken, it's gonna add a little bit more flavor, and it cuts that whole step out of the whole process. So we're good to go. I'm gonna dump in our onion, our celery, and our carrot. And we're gonna give that a good stir. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of salt here, and that's gonna help draw the moisture out of these vegetables. And it'll make it cook just a little bit quicker. Matter of fact, I need to get salt. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit of salt. Just a touch, not a whole lot, because we have other seasonings that we're gonna go ahead and put in, which I have them all in this little container here. I have 2 teaspoons of sage, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of poultry seasoning and seasoned salt. I have a teaspoon of thyme and a teaspoon of dried parsley. And we're gonna wait until after we put our garlic in, which is gonna be the next step to get that flavor going. And once this starts coming together, we need to start on our biscuit dough. And I'm gonna do a biscuit version. You're happy to do a different dough variation, but we're gonna make ours from scratch. And that includes, I have 4 tablespoons of butter. It is grated and is in the refrigerator. And then I have some flour, some baking powder behind me. We'll pull that out here in a little bit. But now I'm just kind of waiting on these vegetables, and I'll do a time lapse. See you in a second. Now we're gonna add in our garlic. I have about 6 to 7 cloves of garlic. If you don't like garlic, feel free not to add it, but we like garlic. And I'm just using a garlic press here. It makes it, it's a weeknight. You want things to go quick, so you don't have to mess so much with a knife and cutting it all up. And this is gonna become fragrant in about 30 seconds, maybe 45. Get it all mixed together. And then I'm going to deglaze with some vermouth. And if you have cooking wine, this is when you would use it. Or if you have a good white wine that you like to drink, that's even better preferred. But I don't wanna open up a whole bottle of wine. We're trying to go quick on this. Now I'm fragrant. So we're gonna go ahead and deglaze the bottom of the pan with just a couple of tablespoons of vermouth. Just like that. Get that flavor going. We're gonna let this sit for just a couple of seconds, just to burn that excess alcohol off. And then we can go ahead and add in our seasonings. I also forgot to say, I have 3 bay leaves in this. And get that all together. And then the next ingredient is I have 6 cups of chicken broth. And we're gonna add that right now. Along with our chicken. Now this chicken's already cooked, and so we're just gonna heat this up just to get it warm through. Our vegetables, they're gonna take a little bit longer. We want everything in the broth. So our chicken's gonna go in. This is looking good. It's already smelling nice. I love this seasonings. And while this comes up to temperature, we're gonna start on our dumplings. All right, so our chicken's in, it's getting heated up through. We're gonna start on our dumplings. So I have a cup and a half of all-purpose flour in here. I'm gonna take a teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm also going to add some salt. And then we're gonna give it a good whisk just to get everything mixed. And then we're gonna add in our butter, and then we need to make sure that our butter is in tiny, tiny pieces. And if you have hot hands like me and you mess with dough, the butter's gonna melt, and we don't want that. So if it gets too warm on you, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put it in the fridge and it's gonna chill back up. But all I'm doing is just milling the flour in with this butter, and that's gonna give a flaky texture to these dumplings. It's just like making homemade biscuits, which this is exactly what we do. And this is gonna break it up, and it's best to grate your butter. You don't have to, but you do want it in small pieces. You could just cube it up real small, like a quarter by a quarter. And then just run your finger up through this, and you're gonna want to see kind of a sandy texture, and that's when you know you're done. And then after this step, I'm gonna wash my hands. There we are. Now I'm gonna put you overhead. I'm gonna grab some of this flour, I'm gonna squeeze tight, and see how it holds its shape, kind of like wet sand. That's when you know that you're good to go. So our next ingredient is buttermilk. We actually made this one, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll put it up there. I have half a cup reserved. I don't think we're gonna use the whole half, so I'm gonna kind of eyeball this. We'll start with half of this, and then we'll mix it. And you want your dough just to come together, and then we'll be able to mess with it. Because we're gonna need this just for a few minutes. We don't wanna over knead. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Looks like we're probably gonna use the whole half a cup, maybe a little bit more. Yep. Add in the rest. So that was half a cup. And if we need more, then I'll add some more. But we're starting to come together. I'm gonna put a little flour on my workbench, and we'll pull this out, and I'll knead it by hand. I'm gonna add the rest. Maybe. We'll think about it. All right, I have flour on my workbench. So what we're gonna do is fold this out. And get flour on your hands. It helps the dough from sticking. And if it's too wet, we're gonna add more flour, but I think we're pretty good. We're just gonna kind of lightly knead this. It's not like we're looking to make bread, so it's gonna be pretty quick. I'm gonna add a little bit more flour. Let go. Just until it comes together. Now like that. Grab a rolling pin, we're gonna roll it out. Actually, nah. It's a weeknight. We're just gonna flatten by hand. Get all of our dough. Because that's the second best thing in chicken and dumplings is the dumpling. Now you can roll this as thin as you like, or you can, I'm gonna go to about, between 1/4 and 1/8 of an inch. And we're gonna bump up our chicken. I turned it down just so we could get this dumplings done and in time so the chicken's not gonna overcook. And I like that right there. So we're, about 1/4 of an inch. So now you can either tear these off by hand or cut. I decided to go with the uniform look just because we're on YouTube and I want it to look nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut little strips, and then I'm gonna cut little, kind of like squares. We're going with the rustic look. And then once we get here, just go down the line. And if your dough starts sticking, you add more flour underneath it, but ours is moving just fine. And since we have the baking powder in here, these are gonna plump up a little bit. So once this comes to a boil, we'll start adding our dumplings. And then the dumplings are gonna sit, they're gonna boil for about 7 to 10 minutes. You're gonna wanna test them. And when I dump them in there, see you in a minute. I need to wash my hands, they're dirty. So we are boiling now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop these in random places. And you wanna make sure that they're not touching because they can stick to one another. And we want no touching. And we're gonna drop quite a few, and then I'm gonna give it a stir just to get new areas to drop. And after a few seconds, once they're in the liquid, they won't stick to each other. But man, this is smelling good. I wish y'all could smell it. And I hope you give this a try, because this is actually a really fast weeknight dinner. I think I've only been really cooking for maybe, I don't know, 20, under half an hour for just this. Go ahead and stir it one more time. And then the rest of these are gonna go in. And we have one more ingredient, if you don't count a cornstarch slurry. But that's gonna be heavy cream. And I'm gonna let this sit for about 5-7 minutes, like I said, at a rolling boil. And those should be done. And then we can finish the dish and plate up. All right, it has been about 5-6 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is I have a cornstarch slurry. We're gonna go ahead and turn this off. We're gonna use the residual heat. I have 3 tablespoons here. I might not use it all. I just wanna make sure I have enough for this clip. But we're gonna go ahead and dump this in, give it a stir. It's gonna thicken our broth. And remember, we're still adding heavy cream to this. So if you go a little thick, you can just add a little bit more broth, a little bit more cream. I'm gonna go a little bit more. And I like that. We'll reserve the rest of that. But I'm gonna eyeball, it's gonna be roughly 1/2 cup, in between 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup. Like that. And this is the final dish. We are done.
I'm starving.
I know, that's why you rushed me through this video. I'm just kidding. All right, that's our chicken and dumplings. Let's give it a taste. I want some of the dark meat.
That's the piece I wanted.
Well, here, take my spoon, I don't care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Another piece of dark meat right there.
Perfect.
For a weeknight, takes all the major scratch cooking out. But man, this is so good. I hope you give it a try. You know, if you haven't commented yet on what you'd like to see us make, you know, please make a recommendation down in the comment section. And anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe, you know, whatever other people say on YouTube. And we'll see you on Friday. Y'all take care. Adios.
The seasoning is top. Perfect amount of.
Yeah. Thanks.
Kind of a little peppery, but.
No, I like it.
I know. At the end.
I love black pepper.
I know you do.